Non-clinical depression is one of the greatest tools that you could possibly use to better your life. And I'm speaking from a point of view where last year was one of the darkest years of my life, and I've been able to utilize that depression, that sadness, and the feeling of just feeling like I'm absolutely rock bottom to refine my purpose again and actually have a happy and enjoyable life that I'm now chasing some very big goals of mine. But the use of that depression is going to be key and absolutely key to revolutionizing your game. So, from my story and my point of view, going back to 2022, I got into a relationship with my ex girlfriend and then we moved in together very quickly. Initially, I wanted to go and do my social media stuff. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to build an empire for myself. And over time, basically, she was feeding into me that I didn't need that. And she pushed me down the corporate world. She basically moved me without potentially even thinking. And it probably wasn't even intentional. But what she was doing, she was drawing me away from my true purpose and what I genuinely wanted to pursue, and was like rewriting the programming in my head that I needed to go down the corporate route. I needed to go and do things in the corporate world, which for me, which I now know is the opposite of what I want. And as time went on, I obviously was going further and further off course, and my depression was getting worse and worse. And it got to the point where I was an absolute shell of a man by the end of the relationship. It was horrible. I felt dreadful all the time. I was very negative. I was lost. It was probably one of the worst points for me. We then broke up due to me probably being a very bad boyfriend, due to me being a shell of a man. There's obviously two sides to a story, but I can take my side of it, and I like to take accountability for how I was, because then I can control it and become a better person. But that's another story. We then broke up. I lived on my own for 4 months in the Midlands with no family or friends around. I was still working in the corporate side at Land Rover, and I was in a horrible state. I wasn't chasing my purpose. I had a point for the first time in 8 years since I started going to the gym. I didn't train for a month. And for me, I had never got even close to that. Probably a week at max by going on holiday is what I do without going to the gym. But I had a gym available. I was in England. I was living on my own, but I could not face going to the gym. I was in that much of a hole. I couldn't even face to see anyone apart from having to go to work. I then used that level. I came down to London and I saw my mates, and they said, move to London. And that lit the initial spark in me from a point of, from what I can say and for what my relative situation is, that was like extreme depression. I decided I needed action, and I flipped the script and I moved to London. 2 months later, found a place, found a new job. I moved to London. I then still continued down this corporate route. I was still in this hole of mental sadness and depression. And I was working this job. It was horrible hours. It was horrible pay. I thought the commission would eventually work out, but it didn't. And I just kept going down this hole further and further and further, to the point where I then luckily went on holiday with my family towards the end of September, and it gave me a new outlook. I was like, wow, this is how I should feel. I shouldn't be this stressed. As soon as I came back, I quit my job on the day, just left, and had nearly a month out, refound my desire for fitness and online PTing and trying to inspire people. And I started going down that route. I then found a mentor for myself. I found a very good new friend of mine and started surrounding myself with much better people. And my life since then has been on a very nice upward slope. Of course, it's not always upwards, but the trajectory has completely changed from going like this for so long. And I'd probably say for 2 years, I was just in a downward spiral, to suddenly regaining some momentum. And now we're on the way up. And that's where, of course, this YouTube channel has started. But what I'm trying to say from this, from my own personal story, is your state of depression and a low point is the key sign that you need to change something. It should be something that causes you to go, I need something to change, because that's what your body's telling you. You're not chasing your true purpose. Your body and your frequency knows your true purpose in life. It is telling you to go this way. And although it may not be clear and the path is not easy and it's very, very difficult to get out of that mental state, I remember it was horrible, and I still get them sometimes, small versions, but of course, that's how you'll do. But if you can use that depression that you're currently in to know something needs to change, you will then slowly start to try and rewrite how your brain is working and refine the things that find you joy. And once you can do that, the life is just on the up again.